Volcanoes have been erupting since the beginning of time, but even today, it's one of the most dangerous natural occurrences where humans really can't do much. Well, except run to get out of the way. Currently, there are about 1,500 active volcanoes all over the world, many of which erupt far more frequently than others. And, as a result, some of the craziest videos exist of these powerful forces of Mother Nature. From Chile to Japan, here are some extreme volcanic eruptions caught on camera. Chile is one of the most dangerous countries in the world when it comes to volcanic eruptions. The country has the second largest chain of volcanoes in the world after Indonesia, with about 500 that are potentially active. Back in 2015, Chile experienced one of the deadliest volcanic eruptions the world has ever seen. It was a quiet day in the small tourist town of Puerto Varas, where the volcano suddenly decided to erupt after 4 decades of inactivity. And boy, was this volcano ready to let it all out, because it didn't erupt once, but twice in the span of only a few hours as the citizens nearby scrambled as far away as they could. More than 20,000 people within a 20-kilometer radius had to evacuate their homes as the city was clouded over with ash and smoke, and the sky burned a bright red. Flights had to be canceled, and schools had to be closed as the city's officials tried to deal with the aftermath of this scary eruption. The video shows heavy smoke coming out of the volcano as it spews out ash. According to the authorities, the volcano didn't give off any fire or hot rocks, but even then, it was a pretty dangerous situation for the whole city. Thankfully, because of the fact that the area often has to deal with violent eruptions, the authorities started making evacuation preparations as soon as the Calbuco started heating up, which is how they were able to save thousands of lives. Papua New Guinea has the most active volcanoes in the Southwest Pacific, which is why it's no surprise if the citizens there happen to come across a volcano that's erupting. However, this explosion at Mount Teverver in 2014 took a lot of people by surprise simply because of how powerful it was. A group of people on boats were close enough to capture the exact moment when the volcano erupted.
Watch out for the shock, it's coming.
Mount Teverver is surrounded by the ocean, which is why there were no casualties as a result of the eruption, and the smoke and ash fell straight into the water. Now, this wasn't the first time the volcano had erupted. In fact, all the way back in 1994, the same volcano erupted and completely destroyed the town of Rabaul, which is why people living and working nearby were advised to relocate for a while to escape from the after effects of the eruption. The Teverver eruption actually completely destroyed the Rabaul airport, which then had to be abandoned because of its proximity to the volcano and its constant exposure to toxic gases. A new airport was built around 50 kilometers away, but even then, with the constant volcanic eruptions in the town, it has to experience the occasional ash and smoke that are carried towards it whenever Mount Teverver decides to erupt. While the eruption of Mount St. Helens dates all the way back to 1980, it is regarded as one of the most dangerous events in history, completely changing the way scientists studied and dealt with volcanoes. On May 18, 1980, Mount St. Helens finally erupted after several small earthquakes earlier in the year. The explosion was deadly, and it also set into motion the worst landslide in human history, occurring right after a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. So, it's safe to say that things were pretty bad. In a matter of only a few minutes, the hot lava and all the ash destroyed pretty much everything within a radius of 230 square miles. And while the eruption took place near the water, all the volcanic material flew into nearby towns because of the wind, leading to even more destruction. As a result, 57 people lost their lives, including photographers and geologists who were there to study the area and observe the eruption. Not just that, but this eruption completely changed the landscape of the county after reducing forests to ash and damaging all the trees in the area with the heat given off during the explosion. The ash fall created some serious issues with transportation, sewage disposal, and water treatment systems. Visibility was greatly decreased as well, closing many highways and roads, which is why the town had to be shut down until nature had completed its course. But it didn't just end there. Why? Well, because for the next 2 months, the volcano kept erupting at random times, triggering even more earthquakes. But thankfully, none of the later ones were as intense. The one good thing that came out of the explosion was the fact that geologists and scientists were able to develop better methods of monitoring and forecasting, ensuring that a tragedy as big as the Mount St. Helens explosion doesn't take place all over again. Have you ever heard of a volcanic eruption giving birth to a whole other volcano? Well, that's exactly what happened in Japan a few decades ago. Another eruption that took place in the 1980s was the Taishi Knoll on the 13th of July, 1989. Now, unlike all of the other events that we've talked about, this one was a submarine eruption that occurred off the Izu Peninsula in Japan. And while the Taishi Knoll incident took place because of smaller volcanoes erupting, the process resulted in gas leakages like no other. A total of 10,800 earthquakes off the east coast of the Izu Peninsula were recorded in the interval of the 20th of April to the 12th of May 1998, nearly a decade after the Taishi Knoll explosion. So, it's safe to say that the people living here grew pretty used to all of it. However, the Taishi Knoll eruption definitely took everyone by surprise just because of how intense it was. The submarine eruption didn't just end there. It was followed by 2 weeks of scattered earthquakes, with the largest one having a magnitude of 5.5, which killed 18 people. Experts noted that as a result of the submarine explosion, the sea floor actually domed upwards 500 meters because of all the gases that were released with the smoke and lava. In the next 5 minutes, 5 more eruptions were recorded, each one giving out more volcanic particles than the last. Now, what's really interesting is that volcanic tremors in this particular area had been going on from 1978, with the one in 1989 being the 12th occurrence. 2 days after the horrible eruption, unmanned automated survey craft Manbo surveyed the knoll and found an about 200-meter diameter crater in the center. Manbo's echo sounder recorded a big vertical cloud of volcanic gas welling up from the crater as well. And this is how this submarine explosion led to the actual creation of the volcano that is now known as Taishi Knoll, which did not exist before. To this date, the Izu Peninsula is still one of the most active volcanic sites in the world, making it a dangerous place to visit. Volcanoes exist all over our planet. Most pose no real threat to human life, while others certainly are a danger. Hopefully, as technology progresses, we can better forecast when exactly an eruption will occur, saving lives in the process. So, which one of these videos was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.